Welcome to UWS Weekly, a show that is dedicated to covering United Women's Soccer, a national pro-am league with your host, Jonathan Ward. Each and every week, we will highlight players, supporters, and staff of the clubs we all pride ourselves to support in North America. The UWS is a league that is committed to advancing women's soccer. Good evening, soccer fans, and welcome to the UWS studio and UWS Weekly, a show dedicated to the best pro-am league in the world, the UWS and the UWS 2. My name is Jonathan. I'm excited tonight to be joined by members of FC Austin Elite for today's show. But before we get started, let's get into some league news. The UWS and Impact Canopy have announced an official partnership between the two organizations. The National Pro-Am League has agreed to an arrangement with the #1 field branding company in North America to provide domestically made custom canopies, signs, flags, and banners for their member teams. UWS welcomes Impact Canopy as a preferred vendor, said Chief Operating Officer Roberto Aguas. This partnership provides UWS clubs with the superior quality, convenience, and customer service that Impact Canopy delivers. We're thrilled to implement Impact Canopy's custom canopy tents and other branding solutions to enhance the experience of UWS games and events. The word expansion has been one of the more frequently used words over the last 15 weeks, and now we get to use it again. Expansion has come to the Southeast Conference of the UWS with the addition of Williamson County FC to the 2021 lineup. Wilco FC is based out of northern Austin and Williamson County area and will serve as a member of the FC Austin Elite Affiliate Partnership Program. The new organization joins Bat County FC, also in Austin, the Central Texas Hornets out of Kyle, Texas, FC Austin Elite, Dallas International FC, the San Antonio Athenians, and Side FC 92, which is in Tulsa, Oklahoma, all in which are in the UWS Southwest Conference. We're excited to accept Wilco into UWS. The Texas region is a hotbed for soccer, and the North Austin area is poised for an exciting summer of competition, is said by League Commissioner Joe Ferrara. Joining me tonight, representing FC Austin Elite, I have Danny Woodfill, who is the owner and GM of the club, and players Ashley Dozier and Satara Murray to discuss the organization's past, present, and future, along with its new affiliate partnership program that the team has created. Danny, Satara, and Ashley, thank you for taking the time to join us. Before we get started, why don't you go ahead and give everyone a little insight into yourselves and how you got started in the game that we all love. And Satara, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Okay. Hey, everyone. My name is Satara Murray. I have been playing soccer for, God knows, since I was about 5, so I'm almost 28, so most of my life. I'm from here. I'm from Austin originally. I started playing with Lone Star Soccer Club, played with them from when I was about 11 up until when I graduated from high school at 17, and then played collegiately at the University of North Carolina, #Go Heels. I know I'm wearing the SC sweatshirt right now, so it probably makes no sense, but I'm a Tar Heel through and through, so y'all don't hurt me on this one. But we won a national championship in 2012 with North Carolina, and then I started my professional career just across the pond in England, playing for Liverpool Football Club. Was there for 4 seasons, was one heck of an experience, getting the opportunity to play a different style of play, getting a chance to experience a different culture. Then I made my way back in 2019 to the Houston Dash in the NWSL, played with the Dash for about a year and a half. And then I ended my career with the Cole Bolton women in Norway. And now I am playing with FC Austin. So I'm really excited. I'm so excited, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Your career has never ended. It's not ended. You're going to.
It hasn't ended. No, it hasn't. But it's funny because I was having this conversation earlier on the phone today, and I was like, even though I say that I'm like officially retired from like professional, I'm really not. I obviously still have a passion for the sport. I still love it. Obviously I'm still playing, but I just want to be in an environment where I'm just allowed to thrive and to just be myself. And that's exactly what Danny's giving me the opportunity to do. So thank you, Danny. Appreciate it.
Ashley, what about you?
So I'm from Dallas. Go Dallas! Woohoo! I started. I know Danny's looking at me, giving me hate right now. So sorry, but gotta represent. So I started. I'm 24, so I started. I was 5, and I started off at Solar, and then I went and I finished my career at FC Dallas, and I was really fortunate to like play club for FC Dallas, and it was great. And then I had an extensive college career. I didn't really know what I wanted to do in college, so I went to Abilene Christian. Then I ended up in St. Mary's University. And when I finished, I was like, I know I still got a lot left in me. And so I just worked my tail off, and I was the first girl out of St. Mary's women's soccer history to enlist in the draft and then to get an agent. So I was the first ever girl to do that, and I was really excited about that opportunity. And then after that, Rona hit. Like, got an agent in January, graduated in May. It was crazy, fun but crazy. And then I went to Portugal in December, played for a month. Unfortunately, the team got sick with Rona, so I got sent back home. It was such a great experience being able to play with those girls. And then when I came back, Danny gave me a call, and here I am, excited to play.
Nice. And Danny, what about you? What made you? What got you invested in this sport that we all love?
It's interesting. For me, it started. I'm a little bit older than the two of y'all, but and probably a little bit older than Jonathan, despite his rugged good looks. I'm actually a little bit older, I think. But back when I was in college, that's when women's soccer was really starting in Texas at the university level. Literally, Texas A&M's women's NCAA program. They had a program before that, but their varsity endorsed NCAA program started in the mid-'90s while I was there. And I got a little taste of working in the women's game then, and then fast forward 20 years and realized that there's really not the opportunities for women that there are for men, especially in soccer. I mean, that statement is true in life, period. We don't need any qualification for that. Women don't get the opportunities that men do often. But figured that we could make at least a little bit of a difference in the women's soccer side. So started this about 6 years ago. Going into year 7 now.
Nice. So Tara, you have had the opportunity to play in some of the best countries in the world as it relates to soccer. What has that opportunity been like, and how has it impacted you, not as a player, but as a person?
That's a great question. So I went to England right out of college. So I was only 21, and it's a huge leap from the transition in general, whether that's on the pitch or away from it. It's a huge culture shock, and so leaving everything that I was so familiar with at such a young age was hard nonetheless. I mean, I was leaving my family, my friends behind, everything that I was so, used to being around. And it was hard to adjust. My first year in England, I'm not going to lie and sit here and say it was, rainbows and daisies. It was really difficult, being so far away and not really having that support system to really help cope with what was going on and helping with the transition. So it was a bit difficult, but I'm quite adaptable, and and I think I get that a lot from my mom. So it helped with just kind of reaching back out to my friends and my family back here, and just kind of running it by them, saying, hey, listen, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z. I need help with this, and I had the support right back here, so it helped. But getting a chance to, like I mentioned earlier, getting the opportunity to play soccer in a different country, getting a chance to see a different style of play was incredible. I think it developed my game in all aspects. Because here in the U.S. we have there's an emphasis, with the athleticism side of it. In England, there was more of an approach with like the technical and tactical side of it, and that was something that I really had to improve over the course of my time there, and I definitely did. So it was a lot of fun. It was quite challenging nonetheless, but it made me a much better person more than anything. And It was through the adversity that I had faced and all the challenges that made me who I am today. And I couldn't be more thankful for the opportunity. So yeah, it was wonderful.
Ashley, you have had the brief experience of playing in Europe. How, kind of the same question to you, how has it impacted you and potentially changed or altered the way you look at the game as we move into the May 8th possible start of the season?
I mean, as Satara said, like, these girls, like, it was such a different style of play, like how we're used to in America. Like, they're more, I guess, technical with the ball. And so when I came there, I'm ready to, like, get physical, like long balls, like just athleticism. And they come in there and they're like, no, pass, move, pass, move. So I was already like, I remember I landed got touchdown from Portugal. The next day I had a tryout, or next day I was meeting with the team. And I was like, I'm tired. I'm not ready to run. Y'all just whooped me in 1-2 touch passes, and I got to restart everything. I was so frustrated, but these girls, they were, like, so welcoming. They were so nice, and I got the experience to see Porto, which was really cool. But it's just, like, completely changed how I train even. I focus more on, like, 1-2 touch passes and my movement off the ball instead of athletic ability.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to that happening this year between the two of you. Maybe a duo between you and Satara. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Little 1-2 touch down the left hand or right hand side. That'd be great. So, Danny, you are pretty much an advocate for everything that is women's soccer. What makes you so passionate about the game and continue to make sure that you are trying to grow the game as much as possible?
Well, first, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it, because it's weird in the women's game. You feel like you work really hard, and there's so many barriers and there's so many things to get through. And I'm a guy, so I have the inherent male bias of getting things to go my way because I'm especially a white man. I have the benefit that a lot of people don't have. But in seeing that and seeing how hard it is, we have more girls engaged in soccer at the youth level than anyone else in the world. But that doesn't translate to pro women players. It's almost like, and once they hit 18, nobody cares about you anymore unless you get into college. And the section that get into college, like, they really care about you. Or, they really put you up through college. I don't know if care is the right word, but they, you get all the best through college. And then, like, literally immediately after you're done with college, there's no more soccer. And that's actually that was a realization that my own kid gave me, that, like, soccer ends at college for girls. And I think that's dumb. Like women don't get to play into their prime. Ashley, who just got out of college, like, she hasn't even gotten near as good as she will be. And I think Satara can talk to that too, because, like, Satara's a much better player now with the experience that she has and the knowledge that she's gained over the years as a player, better now than ever. When at 21 and fresh-eyed going to Liverpool and playing there, I think that she probably learned a lot, and I think that that's an opportunity that women deserve. It's easy enough to help create it and to be part of the solution. So I just want to be part of the solution.
Nice. Satara and Ashley, what are your expectations for yourself going into this year? After obviously some time off due to COVID, you can only train so much. You can only prepare for the season that is not really there yet, right? Where there's no foreseeable start other than we know May 8th. But what are your expectations for yourself? Satara, we'll start with you.
I guess it's just, this is my first year, obviously, with Austin, so I really don't know what my expectation really is of the team just yet. I'm playing in a couple tournaments and had a couple games so far that have been actually a lot of fun. So if I can go by anything, what I've been a part of so far, I can say that, I expect us to be at the top, and individually, it really is just to bring my experience, my expertise, and, the table. That's really about it, and just to have fun with it again. I'll emphasize the importance of having fun with this sport because once that passion and that fun goes away, it's obviously not fun anymore. And so, I think just enjoying it, embracing it, having this very unique and really cool opportunity will hopefully allow us to be successful in all aspects of the season. So, yeah.
Ashley?
I agree with Satara. I mean, I feel this team's been competitive. I played with a couple of tournaments with them, and every game was competitive. I love the competitive energy as well as I see myself being versatile. I mean, I played in the 7v7 tournament, and I remember I texted Danny, okay, so like, where do you see me playing as? I mean, I'm an outside back, but I can do this, and I can do that. And it was so exciting. I get to talk to Danny, be like, wow, like I can play multiple positions in a game. I could take my skill being an outside defender to maybe being a forward. And I don't know, Wednesdays I work with a shooting coach, and we're like working on getting my shot like nasty. So I'm excited to be able to maybe play forward as a defender. That's always fun to score.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Roberto Carlos had some nasty free kicks, just so everybody's aware of that. So, hey, Danny, tell us a little about the affiliate program that you've started and how FC Austin Elite and yourself is a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this year really starts our transition, and we kind of started the idea last year, but COVID had a different role to play with that. But as we transition our team to be a fully pro, and this year all of our players, we're not going to have any NCAA eligible players on the elite team. But in doing that, we also, we still want to create more opportunity for people. We still want to broaden the base for women's soccer. So we partnered with new team in Williamson County FC, which is up where we practice, and then the Centex Hornets, another amateur team, to help grow their base of NCAA eligible amateur players, grow that up on both parts, which ultimately is going to benefit us, right? Because if we want the best players in Austin, they're going to come from Wilco, they're going to come from Centex Hornets, they're going to come from other places. We're talking with other programs in Southern California and Florida to increase our affiliate program even further, to really reach as far as we can and to create a real path to pro. Our goal 100% is to have a professional team next year. And this year we're looking to operate as a professional team, but next year actually pay our players fully pro, full year round. And so with that, we want to include amateur clubs in it to give them a pathway to go pro as well.
Awesome. So Tara, you talked about it on your show that you have Our Cup of Tea. Ashley, I'm sure you've invested in this opportunity as well. And Danny, I know you've been in the conversation, but what does the announcement with NISA mean as it relates to the landscape of professional women's soccer? And Satara, we'll start with you on that.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. Harley and I obviously spoke in depth about it with our first episode with Our Cup of Tea, and the timing of that announcement was perfect because it was our first episode, so it was great. And and I think one of the coolest things about this is that it really does present more opportunities for women's soccer players here in the States. I've always said that I don't think the NWSL should be the end-all be-all for professional women's soccer in the U.S. I mean, if you look at other countries and how they operate and how they function, there are a plethora of different opportunities for girls to go out and have their dreams come true. So with this partnership between NISA and the UWS doing this huge thing, I think it really is a wonderful opportunity, and to be here for that and seeing it come to life, I don't think there's a much better situation than this, and I cannot wait to see the wonderful things that it does and the new opportunities that it brings to players coming out of college, but who think that if they don't make the NWSL or they don't make a team overseas, especially with the situation that we're in right now with COVID, that their career should end right there and then. With this opportunity, now it presents something new, and with the amount of teams that are going to be in this league, it's going to be incredible, and I can't wait to see what it does for the next generation.
Ashley?
I mean, I'm excited as playing overseas wasn't just like, hey, we have one division and this is it. And if you can't make it, well, I'm really sorry. There was like, what, 4 or 5 divisions in some countries. And I like how, since we're under the NWSL, we're kind of putting the NWSL in a hot seat. Like, we have some good girls who maybe might have not graduated from a large Division I college, or maybe they didn't have film, or whatever the reason may be. Now we're putting pressure on the NWSL, coming out with pro teams and having excellent players and being, hey, like, maybe we might do what they have in Europe. They have a relegation system for the bottom 2 NWSL teams now comes, and the top 2 teams go up. So it definitely makes the league more competitive, and it shows, keeps our talent back home in America, which is awesome to even have, and to bring other girls from other countries to America, which is even more exciting, that we can give opportunity to others.
Danny?
Yeah, I think really this is the game changer for women's soccer here. There's just too limited a pool of professional players. 25 players on 10 teams, it's 250 players tops. Well, I mean, you could make a whole pro league out of just the players that came from UNC over the last 10 years. I mean, it would be an amazing league. So the players aren't getting the opportunity. I think for us, we're looking to recruit players that maybe are at the bottom of an NWSL roster or are on the reserve team, on an NWSL team. Players that right now are looking at that their only real option, because like Ashley said, they didn't go to a high caliber school, a big soccer program school, that their only option is to get in Iceland or Portugal or Spain or Israel. I want to keep those players here. Let's give them a chance to play in the United States, where they're more comfortable. They already speak the language. They don't have to learn a second language. That's fun, and if you want to do it, I want to help people do that. But it would be awesome to come down to Austin, play 30 games, and play 30 games down here with the elite, and not have to go overseas to get a game. So hopefully, not only can we help do that, but hopefully this partnership with NISA and UWS Pro creates more teams like us that are able to give those opportunities to women all across America. And then, like Ashley said, open the door to foreign players to be able to come in as well. That's the more the merrier. Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, let's get into some questions that are club based and kind of go on how the direction of the club is looking and kind of the growth of its community. Starting off, how much planning? So Danny, this will be at you. How much planning did it take to come up with the women's team, and what was the thought process behind it? You've kind of already answered it, but what was the planning like?
It's funny. We're super fortunate. This didn't happen overnight. It would be a nightmare to come up with a women's team, especially one of our caliber, overnight. And this is a full-time job for me to do it now. But we've really worked over 6 years. We started out in a middle school football field, turf field with football lines, no stands, no nothing. And, slowly grown that over the years to have fans and get off of the turf fields and get onto a real soccer field without football lines and develop merchandise and have cool jerseys. And so it's a lot of work. And that's another thing that we try to do with teams like Unity and teams like Inland Empire out in California, the Syntex Hornets, Wilco, whatever, whoever wants to help them create learn from what we've already learned and kind of give them some information on how to get there a little bit faster.
Nice. Well, a question for all of you. There's many options to continue your career, either as a pro or a pro amateur, to get to the next level. But what drew you to this organization and UWS specifically? And then Danny, what drew the organization to UWS? I think would be a good question for you. So Tara and Ashley, why don't you guys go ahead? What drew you to want to play in the UWS?
So I mean, this is probably going to sound, probably quite ignorant in a sense, but I didn't really know much about the UWS because I was overseas. So, I really wasn't focused on what was going on over here, but also I came straight here to the NWSL. So it really wasn't much of an education on the UWS. But when Danny reached out to me and And I had heard about FC, way prior to me even getting into contact with Danny. But it was one of those things that, yeah, you see it come across, but you don't really pay any mind to it because I was so focused in my own world. But now that I'm actually involved with it, it actually is it's a remarkable league. I think it really does open opportunities and new doors for so many players that may not necessarily get the opportunity to, play in the NWSL. And I think that's exactly like I mentioned. I'll reiterate that it really is imperative to have something like this because it really will give so many different people, different backgrounds and opportunity to live out their dreams. So I'm absolutely honored that Danny took the time to reach out to me to allow me to be a part of this. So it really is exciting.
Mine's kind of a sad story. So it was right after, grab some Kleenex. Not really, but so I just came back from Portugal. I was throwing myself a pity party. I got sent home, Rona, and I just remember like after my 2-week quarantine, I was just working out every day. I was mad. I was angry. I was like, all right, I pulled up. Let me tell you now, I pulled up the FIFA, like all the teams that had tryouts, that had open, like trading going on. And I got out emails of all the teams, all the countries I wanted to be at, and I just started emailing people. And then I have like my soccer stuff on my Instagram, and I get a message from Austin Elite FC, and at first I thought it was a WPSL team. I was like, look, like, I don't know, what's WPSL, what's UWS? And so I actually like went on the UWS website, and I was like, this is legit. And then Danny like messaged me, hey, can you call me? I was like, oh my gosh, sure, okay, yeah, I want to play soccer. I love soccer. I don't want to, overseas is exciting, but let's stay in America. So I had like an hour conversation, and then after that, I think it was a day or so, NISA said we're partnering with them. And I have a lot of guy friends who played soccer, and they go play with NISA after they graduate. So I kind of knew what NISA was. And as soon as I saw that, I texted Danny. I was like, okay, wherever, whenever, I'm there. I'm ready to go pro. Like, let's fire it up. And it was history after that.
And it's interesting for us. We've actually played in both of the leagues with our team. Our first 3 years we're in the other league, and now we've been the UWS. We made the choice to come to the UWS. I really like the standards here, the level of competition. There are amazing teams in both leagues, don't get me wrong, but the consistency in the UWS is very good. You're going to get a good game every week. You're going to play against players. You're going to play with players, and you're going to play against players that show up in the NWSL draft. And then you're going to play with players that sign major contracts overseas. You're going to play against players that sign major contracts overseas. Players that have played with us previously are playing in the NWSL. They're playing in Argentina. They're playing in Spain. They're playing all over the world. So it really does. The UWS has really kind of upped the game for having a consistent, high quality level of competition week in and week out with fans in the stands and awesome jerseys and just like the whole package. And that really makes a difference, because if you go out and you play a game and nobody watches, did you really play? Like, did anyone know about it? Was that really a thing? And that makes a big difference to me. Like, we put a lot of effort into making sure we connect with fans and making sure that we put on the kind of game that they're going to enjoy watching. So an FC Austin Elite game is always going to be exciting.
So, Satara and Ashley, you guys are in your infancy with Danny and FC Austin Elite, but in your knowledge and in what you've experienced so far through playing in tournaments, what do you think is the overall mission of the club? And then Danny, you can go ahead and give us what the overall mission is.
The overall mission, I think it is to put women's soccer on the map in Austin. With the addition of Austin FC for the MLS. I mean, here it is that we're having our first MLS pro team in Austin. I think really it is to put women's soccer on the map in Austin, in the state of Texas in general. I think that really is, I feel like that's maybe what Danny's trying to do, and maybe wants to, make this so much bigger than soccer itself. So yeah, I think it really just to put this, which was once known as a tiny city in Texas, is now Austin, and let's make women's soccer major out here for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think Austin Elite stands for making women's in sports more, I guess, acceptable, and how, yes, we have NWSL teams in Houston, but why can't we have one eventually in Austin? And it's just a great advocate of what females can do in life and in sports.
I feel good. Like that was really close, and I didn't clearly I didn't anybody on this. So truly, the mission, the real mission of FC Austin Elite is basic: creating more opportunities for women in soccer, and through doing that, like that's kind of the guiding principle. Like, do we want to do this? So. Are we creating more opportunities for women by creating a spot for more college players to play? Well, they kind of already have a place to play in college, so we're not creating that much more opportunity. So why don't we create an opportunity for post-college players? Okay, cool. So let's create an opportunity for post-college players. What does that mean? Well, if you're playing after college, you probably want to take it serious. You want to be pro. Okay, let's make an opportunity for women to continue to play pro soccer after college. Okay, cool. I think that's a pretty good. Jumping off spot, and I think that's where we are right now. But then looking forward, like, okay, so what does that mean next? So next year we'll have pro women's soccer awesome. That'll be really cool. But someone somewhere is going to be like, yeah, but it's not NWSL. Okay, you know what? Let's knock it out. Let's do that. Let's get some
game against them. Like, come on, come play with us.
We're going to. I mean, we're going to play, and we'll play anybody right now, and we'll play anybody next year. And when you hear the schedule that'll come out a little bit later this month, it's going to knock your socks off for this year. But even with that, still, again, somebody's going to say, oh well, but it could be higher. Okay, cool. We'll find the investors. We'll let people reach out to us, and we'll start reaching out to people to find the necessary commitments to bring NWSL to Austin. Let's do it. Let's get everybody riled up. Let's get the fans. Let's do the whole Roja thing, and let's grow the game, and let's make more opportunities. Because even if it's another NWSL team and a UWS Pro team and a UWS Amateur team and a UWS 2 team, that's a lot more opportunity for soccer in Austin than has ever been here. So, let's really make this about creating more opportunity, and we're down to do it.
Yes.
Well, we have a question coming from Alex Rubio over on YouTube, who asks, question for everyone. Now that Austin has an MLS team, where do you see women's pro soccer in the next 5 to 10 years in Austin? I think that kind of answers it. So, Alex, next year, be on the lookout.
That's the awesome thing is we don't have to wait 5 to 10 years to have pro soccer. We might have to wait a little bit longer to have NWSL. There are rules in the world that NWSL teams have to abide by, but we don't have to wait to have pro soccer. We already have Ashley here. We already have Satara here. We have a few other players that are pro soccer players with NWSL experience that are looking to come here and that are coming to Austin to play. We don't have names that we're talking about right now, but that's what we're looking to do. We have players who are currently in Portugal and other places that when they're done there, they're looking to come back to play with FC Austin Elite and get involved. So that's what we want to do is let's not wait. Let's not drag this out, and let's not start in 3 years or 4 years down the road. Let's do it right now. Let's play pro women's soccer right now, and then in 3 or 4 years down the road, we'll get to where we're going, where that road leads us. But we'll start right now.
Danny's about to have all of Austin, if not all of Texas, running through.
We're ready to get rowdy, basically. Let's get rowdy with it.
So I got to ask, how have you as individuals and as a club adapted to make sure you're still able to continue to be successful in UWS in playing during this time? Obviously the training, right? Ashley, you've spoken about training every Wednesday on your finishing.
Yeah.
So Tara, I'm sure you're still out getting touches in and making sure that you're able to play at a high level. But how are you able to make sure this is going to happen?
Well, I mean, I guess honestly, I guess at this point in time, it really is about what you do individually because we're not training as a team just yet. So I think it really all depends on what you do on your own. Obviously, Ashley's put it in a shift, making sure her shot is ready for the season, which I love.
Nasty. I'm talking about nasty, like real time full shot. Like people are gonna be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Look, I'm shooting from the 50. I got it down."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think that's really what it comes down to. And just like what you like, I think it really is about the importance really does come down to like what you do by yourself. Like for me, I lift almost every single day. If I'm not lifting, I am touching the ball. And so it really just, I think, just trying to keep in shape because, at some point, I mean, it may not be next week, but at some point very soon, we're all going to come together. We're going to, get the kinks out. We're going to train together, and we want to make sure that the foundation that we're building right now during this time is setting us up for obviously success when we come together. So, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, this past weekend I did the David Goggins 4x4x48. So I ran 4 miles every 4 hours for 40 hours. I cannot walk on Monday, but I did it.
I'm still not walking today hearing that. It's Thursday.
But like doing things like that, and then just, constantly touching the ball. It's like I'm going to work hard because I know the girls that are coming in there are class players, and I'm also fighting for a starting spot. So it's exciting. It like pushes the edge a little more to make you want to train harder by yourself because we're having class players come in. And if you come in not ready, you risk your spot getting taken or anything can happen.
Exactly.
The nice thing with our team, especially this year, because we're not waiting for people to get out of college, we can start to train a little bit earlier. So we'll be able to train. We'll be able to play preseason games in April. We'll be able to do a little bit more than a typical UWS team is able to do. And we have a year-round program we run, like a rec program, and all of a sudden we see people like popping up that like they're beyond rec players, but they're working out the kinks, getting some touches on the ball, and starting to move around a little bit. So it's really good, and I think that we'll be able to really start getting together here in the next couple of weeks, start practicing, start playing some friendlies and getting out and doing a little bit more. So looking forward to it.
So this year with no soccer over the last year, it's almost like everybody starts on a new clean slate for everyone, all teams, back to square one. Everything starts fresh. It's like hitting the reset button on an old school Nintendo. What is a reasonable goal for the team this year?
A reasonable one, I guess like a realistic one. Just win. I don't know. That's the only mindset that I'm in right now. So Ashley and Danny may have something different, but I think it's just to when the season starts.
All we do is win. I don't.
Yeah, obviously we don't have a schedule or anything yet, but it doesn't freaking matter. No matter who we come up against at any point, the aim is just to win every single game. Win this whole thing. Go out there. Exactly. Like somebody just said, all trophies, all damn day. Exactly. That's all I want to do.
The only letter I know is W, so I don't know any other letters.
All we gotta do is win.
W is the only letter we know.
There we go. I think that answers that question. So then
it's actually funny though, Jonathan, just to jump in real quick, where most teams took last year off and they really couldn't do anything, we were able to practice all summer. We were able to play. We played 6 games last year, even through COVID. So where everybody else was resting and everybody else couldn't quite get started, we were able to actually put a team on the field and practice. And, we wrote COVID protocols. We followed COVID protocols. We had no COVID issues through our practices at all through the whole summer. So we had good we had good guidance throughout the summer, and I think that puts us a step ahead for now. We know what to do. We know how to run a practice. We know how to stay safe. We already have all the sanitizers, and we're ready to sanitize the balls and do all that. And we're fortunate that right now, anyways, the numbers are in our favor, so that we can get out and really get going with the soccer and hit the ground running. You will notice. Let me see if I can do this. W.
Amazing.
It's in the name, so I don't. Stop it now.
So, Danny, I have to ask you, the affiliate program, right? That's one thing, but what is the strategy for the club as it concerns youth development going forward? There's a lot of youth leagues in the Austin region. How are you using that? And we'll get into the other part, the Austin Women's League, in a second. But with youth development, how is that working for FC Austin?
That's interesting. One thing that we've decided to do that I think is different than what a lot of programs like ours, bigger programs do. A lot of big programs have youth academies underneath them. From the very beginning, we decided that we didn't want to have a youth program associated with us. We wanted to be everybody's women's soccer team. We don't want to be Lone Stars women's soccer team or Stings or River City Rangers or Captain's women's soccer team. We want to be Austin's women's soccer team. And we want everybody to come together. One cool thing about Austin, through all the weirdness and the craziness that is Austin, is our ability to come together. And we've from our beginnings have wanted to make sure that we're supporting those programs by providing the role models, by working with them where we can, and giving them the place when they graduate from their youth program to have a place to train during the summer when they're in college, and then graduate into being fully professional players. And we're opening our door to all the youth programs to allow that to happen here in Austin.
Kind of brings me to my next point, though. I'm used to having Dan or Josh from Protagonists chime in on these kinds of questions, but how does the Austin Women's League help the club identify players and bring them on, or even keep current players sharp?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. For years, this is the way it went. You played it in high school, you played in college. After college, you graduated, and then you ran to like whatever you could find for soccer. Maybe it was indoor, maybe it was outdoor, but the outdoor leagues were beneath the level you were used to playing at. And the indoor leagues, you just got hurt. So then you'd go and play co-ed, and no one would pass you the ball because you're a woman. And then when they did pass you the ball and realized that you could play, then they would try to hurt you. So that wasn't worth doing either. So there's been a real disconnect in the women's game, and our relationship with the Austin Women's Soccer League has really helped not only us, because it gives us a place to stay fresh, keep touching the ball, but it also helps the women in the league. When they come out and they see young women playing, they know like, oh, okay, cool. I can play here. I can keep playing. I can enjoy the game still at the local level. And so I think that's really helped. And I think that, if we keep working on things the right way, I think that all of the women's leagues across the country could benefit from partnerships with their UWS team and partnerships with other women's teams to give those players a place to play throughout the year, and then something a little bit higher to aspire to during the summer.
So, Satara, you can kind of attest to this, being that you've played at North Carolina, and Ashley, you're still a part of Texas culture, Central Texas. But what turned Austin and Central Texas into almost soccer central? Many think of California or even the East Coast as soccer meccas, but now Austin has made its way into the conversation. Why do you think that to be the case?
That's a really good question. Obviously, I think with the addition of the MLS, that obviously helps. But I've always thought, even from like my youth career playing with Lone Stars, I've always thought that Texas was one of the main states that produced really good soccer talent. Obviously, like you said, a lot of people look at like Southern and Northern California. But I've always thought, and I don't know if it's just me being biased because I'm from here, but I've always thought like this, this state in particular, and obviously Austin in particular, has produced some really, really good talent. And I think it's obviously like with the development, with what Danny is doing and with surrounding clubs that really have developed players and are, continuously developing them at such a high level at such a young age. And, seeing how like the clubs kind of run and how they are now, it is significantly different than what it was when I was a part of it, 15 years ago. My God, I sound so old saying that. What the hell? But honestly, I think seeing how it's, how Lone Star does this thing now, what Danny's trying to do, seeing what like Sting, they really do develop these players at a really young age, and then these players go off to these top colleges, these top universities, and then ultimately go pro. So I really do think is how like what Danny's doing, what like surrounding clubs are doing with these kids at such a young age.
Ashley, anything on that?
I mean, coming from North Texas, I always heard that North Texas got FC Dallas, I've always heard that like North Texas, Southern California, Southern Florida were always like the top recruits for for college. And then, when you go to Austin, you have Baylor by them, you have UT out in Austin, you have A&M, so all top competing good college, Division I, amazing colleges. So I think with that, like such a big, amazing college programs, it attracts more people that are from Austin and from other states to come in and say, whoa, like these girls are good, these colleges are good. So it's exciting.
Yeah, Ashley nailed it. It used to be Dallas. Dallas was the soccer mecca of all women's soccer in the United States. That's where Sting started it all. Sting used to be the women's national team. You didn't play anywhere if you didn't play on Sting. And you have Solar and Kelsey and Defeaters and FC Dallas. And you have all these great programs. And then Austin's had to compete with that, and San Antonio's had to compete with that. And there are, and Houston's had to compete with that. The Challenge Soccer Club over in Houston, they were producing legends before there were legends in soccer. So, like, women's soccer has always been strong in Texas. Multiply that by the top D1 schools are here. I mean, TCU is number 4 right now in the nation. SMU is good. Baylor, A&M, Texas, and then you have other D1 schools as well that are really strong programs. You have the best D2 women's soccer programs in the country here in Texas with St. Edward's, an amazing program that's a perennial top 20 team. San Angelo, there's Dallas Baptist, West Texas A&M. You have all these incredible schools. Oh, we left Texas Tech off there. Texas Tech is a powerhouse in women's soccer. So I think that really, and I think someone just said it, maybe Harry, that really Texas is a sleeping giant for women's soccer, and we're really expanding that. And now with our club helping lead the way for the women's game, that makes it even more valuable for people to come, grow up in Texas, play in Texas, stay in Texas, and play at the highest levels possible. So I hope that we can continue to build high-level soccer here, especially on the women's side. Certainly our friends at Austin FC have helped expand the minds of people in Austin for soccer. 6 years ago, I would have told you no way. No pro men's soccer, no pro women's soccer, not going to happen. Now it's going to happen. And we've seen Austin FC do great with season ticket. They've sold out everything at the park. And I think that our women's program is going to have the same kind of results. We're going to be women's soccer is on a different level than MLS, but I think we're going to have the same kind of results where we have overwhelming support from people in Austin for women's soccer.
Well, I look forward to it. So we'll see what happens. I know for Austin, their home game, their first home match, I believe is in June. I could be mistaken. It could be May, but I think the home opener is in June. They got a couple away dates first, but it will be exciting. And I hope to make it out to Austin for one of those matches. It should be fun. That brings us to our next segment. Our next segment is called Facts for Flan. We have two questions for you guys. This is a question from Troy Flannery, who is the head coach at Impact FC up in Albert, Canada. His first question is Austin Bat City or Hippie Haven?
It's funny. Satara, have you heard Hippie Haven before? I've never heard that term before.
Never heard of that. No.
Now, truth be told, there is a Hippie Hollow, and I think Troy would love Hippie Hollow. Troy, look it up. Hippie Hollow is your place, man. That's like a little homework. Everyone's going to have to hit the Google after this. GTS. It's interesting. I think Bat City, I think the bat thing was played out like maybe 10 years ago. Like, you don't hear bat stuff around here anymore. There's still bats here. We have all that, but I don't know what applies, Dakota.
I don't even know. I've never heard the hippie one, and nobody really. I don't think the bat thing is really that much of a thing anymore. So I don't know what we're known for.
By the way, I am super impressed with what they're doing up in Canada. Love what he's been a part of previously and what he's building now. That's awesome. But we're gonna have to take an L on the Bat City versus Hippie Haven. Yeah.
Well, it won't turn his boots green. That's what I'll make a note of, and it's probably not as tall as 2 inches. But hey, the other question that Troy had was why the motto "Keep Austin Weird." And I had an Instagram live with Brittany Flowers, who was also a representative of FC Austin. She brought that up at the time. But why the motto of "Keep Austin Weird"?
I think we should let Johnny Dallas answer this. So, Ashley, do you know why it's "Keep Austin Weird"?
In Dallas, we just thought people from Austin were weird, and so we just, Dallas is Dallas, you have Fort Worth, so it's like cowboys and urban people, so us cowboys and cowgirls, like, Austin's kind of weird, so I guess that's all I know. But I don't know why. It's just, I've always heard that Austin people are kind of weird, so keep Austin weird.
All right, well, we will do that for sure. Keep Austin weird.
What do you got for it?
I'm for as long as I lived, because I wasn't born here, but I obviously grew up here, and that was always been the motto. I've always been proud of that. But I think I went to Portland, and doesn't Portland have a similar thing? Or I know in Asheville, North Carolina, they have Keep Asheville Weird. And when I went to UNC and I heard that, I was beyond pissed, because I was like, that's an Austin thing. You guys can't just snatch that from us. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But I think that's what we're known for. And yes, I think Ashley has hit it on the head. People from Austin, we are a bit different. If you were to compare to the other 4 major cities in Texas, we are different. But that's what makes us who we are. We're very unique in our own way. And I'm proud to say I'm from this awesome city. So yeah, keep Austin weird.
Austin is amazing. I love this.
Thank you. Exactly. Yeah.
There's nothing more weird than stealing another city's motto. So that's a little weird.
I guess I'm a part of it now.
There's a song, I forget who sings it, but it's like Raising Hell with the hippies and the rednecks. Like, that's a little bit Austin there. Austin's been a little different. But where it really gained traction was Austin is dedicated to small businesses. And a long time ago, we have a huge bookstore. It's like the biggest bookstore in the country, called Book People, downtown, like smack in the middle of downtown. And like a Barnes & Noble or someone to come to town and get economic development to build their Barnes & Noble across the street from Book People. And Book People was like, oh, hell no. And right next door, there's a record store called Waterloo Records. And they were like, oh, hell no. So they all banded together with a bunch of other local businesses and used the motto, keep Austin weird, keep it local, keep it independent businesses. And now that Keep Austin Weird is actually the motto of the Austin Independent Business Association.
All right, well, that leads us. Thank you for that. Facts with Flan. That was an easy segment.
It's for you.
Flan, I hope you got some good answers from that. So now let's get into the hot seat. Each of you, quick question, quick answer. We'll get through this quick. If you could play soccer with any player in history, who would it be and why? Satara, go ahead, start us off.
Oh my God, any player ever? Oh my God, that just put me on the spot. Okay, like off the top of my head, I'll just say Cristiano Ronaldo, and the reason being is he's just absolutely brilliant at what he does. Actually, no, I take that back. Marcelo, and he's actually one of my. He's my favorite player of all time. The things that he does, he's by far, if not the best left back in the world, and I just love watching him play. And some of the things that he does is remarkable. And of course, I'm an outside back as well too. So obviously, I try to emulate my game the way that he does. So yeah, for sure.
Ashley?
Marta. I mean, I started back as a center mid. But Marta is a magician with the ball. Just to be able to be like, hi, can you just like bust it down and slow motion all your stuff like every day for a month so I can beat you? Like she a magician on the ball, just how she moves off it, just the thing she does is just like, did this girl really do that? And then she wears red lipstick as she plays, and it's not everywhere. It's just a full look. I mean,
yeah,
I think she does.
I think she was fabulous in the She Believes Cup, especially against the U.S. I thought she was unreal, like literally unbelievable.
Marta is like the female Messi when she wants to play, like
she does her thing. Yeah,
she's got on, girl.
Exactly.
Danny, in your prime?
Oh man, this is gonna age me, but it's Lothar Matthäus, the German midfielder. Nobody knows who that is because I'm old. I get it, but like he was dominant back in the day in the 80s and or early 90s. It didn't get any better than that. I put on my Diadora match winners, the Kevlar ones with the screw ends. Go to town. Yes.
Very, very, him and Lothar Matthäus, man. Those two for the German national team at one time. All right. Favorite boot. Satara, favorite boot.
Oh, I am a Adidas Predator girl all the way. I still wear them. Those are my cleats. Let's go. Yes. I love them. They are by far my favorite.
Ashley.
The Nike Phantom. I love it. I have like a boy's foot, so I wear kids cleats. Yes, I wear a size 4.5 in cleats. So I get the cool like dragon cleats because I have kid feet. Just like how they don't have laces, you literally lace them up real quick, tuck them under, shoe never gets untied again. It's incredible.
So you're telling me if they had a Velcro soccer boot, you're wearing the Velcro soccer boot?
Absolutely. That will be me.
And then Danny.
So I just gave my answer away. Nowadays it's Predators. Like literally, I will not wear a shoe. I have like the lime green Predators from like 5 years ago. Yep. It's 8 years ago. Who knows? But it was if I could bring them back, it would be those Kevlar Diadora match winners. Those things you could play in a downpour. When you take your shoe off, it's completely dry. No through. That was amazing. And apparently it's bulletproof. I didn't play where I needed that, but waterproof, bulletproof, done. Sold.
All right, here we go. Most embarrassing soccer memory. Satara.
Can you come back to me? I need to think of it real quick.
All right, we'll come back. Ashley, most embarrassing soccer moment.
I was a freshman at Abilene Christian. I think it was the game after Baylor, so it was my second game in college. And I was playing. We got to take a corner, and I took the corner kicks. This is me as a freshman. And those A&M people, they wore those overalls. And I'm like my scared little 18-year-old self, grabbing the ball, like knees shaking. And they're taunting me as I'm about to kick it.
Yes.
I kicked the ball over the goal. Like, everyone in the stadium can see, people on TV, and I'm just like, hi, Mom. Like, that just happened. Like, people were like, oh, my gosh. And I was like, it's okay. Like, my teammate's really nice. Like, you're a freshman. It's okay. And I was just like, the stadium is packed. It's on TV. Everyone saw me completely miss the corner.
We're going to have to look for this clip and get it on.
Those fans will give you the business for the rest of the game, too, about that. Like, what did you? Why'd you guys do?
Satara, coming back to you. Have you figured out yet?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was definitely giving up a penalty. Actually, it was my first season at Liverpool in general. I gave up about 6 penalties in the entire season, so it was just an embarrassing season altogether. But yeah, I think just giving up 6 penalties in general, that's just a career. It was just horrible. I hated it.
Danny, do you have a most embarrassing soccer memory?
You know, it's funny. I struggle to remember soccer at all, but the most embarrassing thing that I can remember, I was playing in a co-ed. I was playing in a little co-ed league here in Round Rock, and one of the guys on the other team was like a friend from when we used to play in the men's league, and I scored, and I didn't have anybody to celebrate with. I didn't score a lot of goals because I played defense, but like I ran over and like I jumped into his arm, like we just won the World Cup, but he was on the other team, and that threw out his back, and he was like, "Oh my God!" Oh, and I'm like, "Oh man, hey, oh gosh, oh man, I'll sub out now. Sorry about that."
All right, next question. Ocean, lake, or river? Satara, ocean, lake, or river?
Lake, 100%. Yep.
Ashley?
Look, I'm a lake girl.
Let's
Summertime
go.
on the lake.
Let's
in a
go.
poncho boat. Sign me up. I'm there. I'm ready.
Danny?
I'm gonna go river. Yeah. But I'm talking tubing river. I'm not talking like boating river. I'm not talking Mississippi. I'm talking like Comal or Guadalupe, something like that.
I think Bill is referring back to Harry's question of a uni leak. So yes, there's potential there. I have to ask, favorite dessert, Satara, favorite dessert. What's the one that you can't stay away from?
My mom's sweet potato pie, 1000%. She makes the best sweet potato pie. So it's only usually for like special occasions, obviously like Christmas or Thanksgiving. So I don't get that frequently, but that hands down, best thing ever.
Ashley?
I have a really big sweet tooth, so like everything sweet. Like I think it's like the Airheads, like the sour strips, that one, or ice cream.
Nice. And Danny?
Everyday ice cream, but if I want to like mix it up, chocolate mousse pie, love that stuff. Like I would eat like the whole chocolate mousse pie. Just
Last question for you guys this evening before we part ways. Satara, obviously you're going to hang out with me for just a bit longer to talk about Beyond the Pitch, but Ashley and Danny and Satara, what does community mean to you?
Oh, everything. I think I don't know about with Ashley, but I mean, without like the backing of my community where I came from, I don't think I'd be in the position that I'm in right now. And, the reason why I do what I do is, is to do it for my community. And, hopefully when I become some big star, if I ever do, I always want to give back, because without that support group, without that community that I came from, I wouldn't be who I am today. So, yeah.
I mean, community is family to me. I mean, you have like your like blood family, but then you have like people who have like just support you and you support them. So community, I guess, is just love and family.
yeah, that's always what it's been for me. I have a huge family, but we didn't really know each other well. Like we didn't grow up together. So the community and the people, like our people, have really been the world to me, and I think that really guides us in what we do soccer wise, and that's just being with our people is a big deal.
All right. Well, Ashley and Danny, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening. I really appreciate your time that you've given us. Have a great rest of the evening, and I hope to chat with the both of you during the year, and look forward to seeing you guys in person.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Cheers, you two. All right. So this next segment is dedicated to highlighting individuals who represent our organizations in the UWS, but also their own entity as a person and a member of our community who does awesome things in the community away from the field. This person could be a supporter, club staff, or a player who's going further to support their community. So Satara, this evening, I wanted to have a conversation with you because you do play for FC Austin Elite, but you also have a wonderful show called Our Cup of Tea and are a part of Black Arrow Media, which is located in Oakland, California. If you could take a minute to explain your roles and how they impact the communities that you're a part of, I would really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. So Our Cup of Tea is a podcast that I co-host with Harley Ford, who's based out in Florida, and it's just we talk all things soccer, women's soccer, and for me, I've never done a podcast before, so it's doing my first one, and the conversations that Harley and I have are they're wonderful. We've only done 2 episodes so far, but they've been such in-depth conversations with, especially with the news coming out with NISA and UWS. Doing that partnership. We spoke about the things that were going on with US, USSF a couple weeks ago, and we talk about all things. So it really is just starting a conversation. That's exactly what Harley and I have just, we've decided that's what we want to do. We just want to have an open dialogue about all things that goes on in women's soccer, because I really think it's an important conversation to have, and if we can be that platform to to have those very in-depth conversations, then we love doing that. So I love being a part of it. It's wonderful, and I hope that it really does get people on board and hopefully supporting women's soccer as the year as time goes on. Now with Black Arrow, so I just hopped on board with Black Arrow. So Black Arrow is the first platform in the world that's dedicated with the intersection of black culture and soccer. The founder, the owner, Aaron Dolores, he's very passionate about Black culture and bringing that presence to soccer as a whole. And how I kind of got into the whole ordeal with it is I have a passion for filmmaking and storytelling. And I think through my experience with being a Black professional soccer player, both here in the U.S. and overseas, I never felt like there really was a platform for me to speak out comfortably and openly about my experience being a Black woman in the U.S. and also in a predominantly white sport. And Aaron, what he has created is really like highlighting and showcasing, Black stories. And before I came on board, he was very much focused on the men's side with the MLS and so on and so forth. But since I've hopped on board now we really are trying to create a very unique lane in highlighting and showcasing Black women in soccer, not just here in the U.S. but worldwide. And it's been an honor. I've gotten into contact with some amazing women and hearing some incredible stories. So I really can't wait to see how Black Arrow as a brand and as a platform just develops over time, because it's really rewarding, doing the things that we're doing. So I'm honored to be a part of it.
And then for people who want to find out more about what you're doing with Our Cup of Tea and Black Arrow, how can they find more information about those 2 entities?
We are on all social channels, Instagram, Twitter. For Twitter, for Our Cup of Tea, it's at Our Cup of Tea. I think it's at OCOT. And you guys can handle there. I don't really know about Instagram because I've been staying off of it. But for Black Arrow, same thing. You can follow us at Black Arrow on Twitter and on Instagram, even on Facebook as well too. And there you can see all the things that we've done so far. With my role with Black Arrow especially, I've done videos with several players, kind of little clips of certain players around the world, kind of speaking about their experiences in their in their teams and their experiences with national teams and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's where you can find us.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you giving me the time and using your platform to speak on behalf of Black Arrow and Our Cup of Tea. I know both have a great platform and are looking to get into the ears of all who are ready to listen. So thank you so much for your time, Satara.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
So thank you so much for joining us this evening for UWS Weekly. Stay tuned for some exciting things coming from the league this month in honor of Women's History Month. You can follow all things UWS and UWS2 on their social media pages, and you can also send your questions to us here on the show for future shows as well. So until next Thursday, have a great evening and enjoy your weekend, everyone. Cheers.